We all come from the spirit world. We are all spirits. Why wouldn't we be able to communicate with other spirits if we're a spirit?
Hey, real quick, this video was too long for TikTok, so this is part 2. Make sure that you go back to my profile and watch part 1 as well. It's already there now.
Of course we can do it. The only reason that we're not is because it's been conditioned out of us and we forgot that we can do it. That is it. All right. And why are other people seem so natural? The ones that say it runs in the family. Because they grew up with people that weren't trying to beat it out of them. They grew up with people who said this runs in the family. They grew up with people that were nurturing their spiritual abilities, that encouraged them to connect with the spirit world. They encouraged them to connect with their energy. That taught them not to be afraid of this, right? That taught them how these different techniques and things that they're learning, right? That's the only difference. They didn't have it suppressed. It's not that it was passed down. Everybody has it. It's just theirs wasn't suppressed. And so now yours, after this workshop here, yours will no longer be suppressed either. Okay? You're going to get this. So if you think you're the only one this won't work for, that it works for only the people that are born with it, that is just nonsense. Everybody's born with this, all right? I've worked with thousands of people. I've never seen one person that wanted to do it that couldn't. Not one, all right? And so here, I want to tell you a story about this too. I want to tell you a story about how anybody can do this, all right? So back when I was first doing workshops, right? I used to do a lot of live in-person workshops. I would travel all over and I would do a lot of these things. For those of you that are going to ask, no, I don't do them anymore. Okay. Why I don't do them anymore? Because I found the best way that I could really serve people on a high level is through my mentorship program. All right. And so that's how I really help people. I don't do the workshops anymore, but I want to tell you about a story from one of my first workshops. All right. I used to do these weekend-long workshops where people would come in and the first day would be instruction, and the second day it was kind of like this group individual hybrid session where I would help everybody get started with a connection with the spirit world. Then I would walk around and start to help people that were struggling, and I would help them have their individual experiences. And so by the end of it, everybody was connecting and with the spirit. It was a very deep, intimate process and experience that we would go through. And so I remember, I'll never forget this one that I did. When we start the workshop, kind of like the way that we open the energies, we just kind of go around the room, tell a little bit about ourselves and why we're here, what our intention for the workshop is, and who we're hoping to connect with, whether it's a loved one, spirit guide, our own intuition, whatever it is, right? And so we go around the room, we talk about it. And I remember we got to this guy in the back and he's like, listen, August, with all due respect, I don't believe in any of this. And even if this could be taught, I don't believe that you could teach me. You see those two people over there? They dragged me here. These are friends of mine. We were looking for something to do this weekend. They're all into this stuff and they convinced me to come here today, but I don't believe in it. And I don't, like I said, and I don't think that you can teach this to anyone. And I was like, whoa, like that hit me out of nowhere. This guy was super confrontational, right? And so this is the first confrontational person or skeptic, like that level of skepticism that I ever experienced back then. Now I experience them all the time, right? But that was the first one that was in a workshop for me. And so I told him, I said, listen, cool. I'm not here to convince you of anything. You can believe whatever you want to believe. But you're here for the weekend, right? You're not going to leave. You're going to participate because your friends are here, right? He's like, yeah, I'm going to stick through this, right? Chest puffed up. I'm going to stick through this, right? And so I said, all right, well, listen, if you're going to be here, you might as well just come in with an open mind and, be curious. And listen, I'm not telling you to change your mind, but if you can set your beliefs aside while you're here and listen, I'm not telling you to change your mind, but if you can set your beliefs aside while you're here and listen, you can pick them up after you leave here. I'm not changing your mind. You can believe whatever you want. When you leave here, you can think that I'm just the biggest idiot and this was all a waste of time. But while you're here, why not set those beliefs aside and ask yourself one question? What if this is real? What if I can actually learn how to do this and connect with the spirit world? Just ask yourself that question and come in here and authentically, genuinely try, be authentic, and participate. And if you do that for me, if you can do that for this entire weekend, if you don't have any experience, for the last 15 minutes of the workshop, you can come up front here and just make fun of me and all of this stuff. And he's like, deal. Right? He's like, deal. I'll take that deal all day long. You're going to be sorry. And I was like, I'm thinking to myself, I probably am, right? I didn't know that I could help this guy or not. But it was just the only reason that I'm thinking that I wanted to do this is because, okay, let's see what happens, right? If he can just drop his beliefs and come in wholeheartedly, I didn't think that he was going to do that. All right. So anyway, the workshop begins, we go through instruction, do all that stuff, the first day stuff. The second day, everybody comes in, we begin the group experience, right? And so I'm getting everybody going, right? It takes about 45 minutes, and so we're kind of in the energy, I'm helping everybody, we're doing it in a group style. And I look in the back and I see this guy and he's like really trying. He's struggling big time, but he's really trying and he's giving it all he's got. And I'm like, wow. He's going to try. I was like, okay, cool. And so, I get everybody going in the group experience and I walk over to him. He's the first person I work with. And I sit down with him and he's like, August, I'm really trying. Like, I want you to know, I'm going to do this. I'm going to give this a shot. Like you said, I'm going to really participate and I'm being genuine. I said, look, I know, I can see, I can tell. It's all over your energy. You're really trying, but you're struggling. And so I was like, all right. And so I started to work with him and we're down there. I'm sitting on the floor, cross-legged with him. And we're just sitting there and I'm working with it. I'm helping him get into it. I could feel his energy. He's going in and out of it. He starts to feel something. It goes away. And so I'm working with him for about 5 minutes and he's kind of like slumped down. And then all of a sudden he sits straight up. His eyes go wide. I see his mother that's passed come in and he goes, tear runs down his eye, and I just put my hand on his back and I said, you're good now. And I walked away. And so I started working with other people. I wasn't really paying attention to that point because when I start working individually, all my attention's with that person. And so, so for the next hour or so, I'm walking around, I'm working with people. I'm not really paying attention. I kind of glanced back at him and I could see him back there kind of like in it. Like I could tell he was in the middle of something. I didn't know how deep or what was going on. And so he's back there and I'm working with everybody. The workshop ends, okay? And in the evening, what we do is we kind of process. We talk, you can imagine there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of raw feelings that come up at something like this. And so in the evenings, after we have dinner and then we come back after dinner and we process, we talk, usually goes late into the evening. And so we talk about what happened. I help anybody process any kind of unresolved emotions, whatever's going on, right? We talk about it. And so we got to the guy in the back and he was pretty eager to share. And he stood up and he said, August, he goes, I just want to thank you, man. I want you to know that I connected with my mother here today, right? And he's got the little tear going. And he's like, I'm starting to get the little tear going too, right? Everybody's got the tears going. And he's like, I connected with my mom. She passed when I was like 8 years old. I was very young. And it was very traumatic for me. I was super close to her. It was sudden. It was unexpected. And there was so many things that I wanted to ask her about. She was my rock. She was the one that taught me everything that I know. She was my person. And he goes, I just want to thank you for this experience. I would have never connected with her, nor be able to continue to connect with her if you wouldn't have prompted me just to have an open mind. He goes, this changed me forever. He goes, thank you so much for this. And this guy, wholeheartedly opened up, from being stone cold. And so, after that workshop, it really hit me where it was like, okay, anybody can really do this. All it takes is an open mind. Because at that point, I wasn't sure. At that point in my journey, I was not sure if everybody can do this. And so That experience was like, it was so eye-opening, right? Because for me, I was like, okay, well, I look back on my story. I didn't believe in any of this either. And then it all opened up for me. Okay. But that was just me. And then I see it in this guy and I'm like, okay, he didn't believe in any of this either. And matter of fact, he went as far as to say that nobody can even learn this. And so if he can do it, anybody can do it. And that's been my experience since. I've come across many people like that guy in the past. I've come across many people who believe that this can work, believe that other people can connect, believe that other people can learn to connect, but not them. I've worked with hundreds of those types of people. Every one of them has connected. Every one of them has connected. All it takes is a willingness. All it takes is a willingness and the ability to set your beliefs aside, right? Whether that belief is, I don't believe in any of this, or that belief is, everybody can do this except for me. Anybody can learn this except for me. This will be easy for everybody else, but it won't be for me. If you can set those beliefs down, come into this with an open mind, you will connect. You will connect in a way that's undeniable. All right. And you'll be able to do it whenever you want. This isn't just, I'm not talking about like a one-off thing, right? So you can do this. Right? Hopefully that's inspired some of you guys. Who has this inspired? Those of you in the beginning that said you believe me that this is easy, but you also believe that you're the only one that it won't be easy for, right? Let me know if you're one of the ones in the beginning that said that that was you and that's what you were thinking. Let me know if this story changes your mind. You know, let me know in the comments if this was helpful for you in any way. Do you believe now? Or at least are you willing to set your belief aside and come into this with an open mind and really pursue it, right? Let go of those limiting beliefs. That doesn't serve you, right? It doesn't serve you. You have to have that open mind. Okay. And really that's all that it takes is that open mind, because even that lack of confidence, even that believing that you can't, that still subsides. If a lack of confidence, even that believing that you can't, that still subsides if you can keep an open mind. Keeping the open mind, you know, that feeling goes right away. And then the second time that you connect and you're like, wow, that feeling is never to be seen again. It only takes twice, by the way. It only takes twice. You guys getting this? This all making sense? You guys follow me up to this point? You guys see how this is easy? You see how it's easy for anyone else? Let me see if you guys got any question. He's right. You have to trust what you feel, hear, and know, and don't question it. So yes, Catherine, to a certain extent, I do agree with what you're saying here, but I will never tell one of my students, I will never tell any of you to trust what you're getting. The reason why is because sometimes we can gaslight ourselves into believing the stuff that we're thinking, that we're just making up in our mind. We can gaslight ourselves into believing that that's accurate, all right? The reason why I say I don't want anyone to trust what they get is because the experience should be so accurate, all right? The reason why I say I don't want anyone to trust what they get is because the experience should be so undeniable, so vivid, and so clear that there is no doubt that can exist in that environment. So deep that you don't have to trust it. You know that it's real. That's the level that I'm talking about, that any of you can go to. Any of you can connect that deep anytime that you want. Effortless, flowing, undeniable conversation with any spirit, anytime, whenever you want. Okay, you guys can do that. You guys can do that. A connection so deep you don't have to trust. You know, okay? Yeah, Ruth says, I'm very open, but it's hard to differentiate between what I think I'm getting and if it's real. That's very common. All right, that's very common. All right, and the short answers that'll help you. It feels different. It feels different. Remember how I analyzed my experiences in the beginning of this, in the beginning when I told you a little bit about my story? That's what it takes. Analyze each one of your experiences, noticing how you feel for each one, and then that time that you boom, that you get that hit, that you make that connection, you're going to see that it feels different. And that is going to help you progress. You're going to get, then at least then you'll know for sure every time you get it. And you'll know for sure every time you're making it up. And so the times that you know for sure that you're getting it and it's a hit, you can analyze that experience and notice what's deeper and look for the nugget so you go a little bit deeper the next time. Unfortunately, it never feels different. Well, how often are you actually analyzing that experiences? Are you thinking, like, what was I feeling in that moment, right? What did my heart flicker? Did I feel a tingle? Were there chills, right? How, like, when somebody says it never feels different, then number one, you're not trying as often as enough. You're not trying to connect as often as you should be trying, right? And the second thing is that you're giving up too early. If you're just like, I want to connect with my loved one. Oh, I don't feel them. And then you go on, that's not doing anything. You've got to try. Right? And so anyway, yeah, I would say that that's a good indicator. Yeah, it says, somebody here says, when it's a message because it comes in a way that you wouldn't say it yourself. Yes, that is a good indicator, but we want it to be more deep and rich than that. We don't want to just be like, oh, I wouldn't have said it that way, so that is real, right? It's great for when you're learning. That's a great technique for when you're learning, but I want you guys to just be able to, boom, connect and know that it is what it is. Ask a question, get a reply, respond to that reply, flowing conversation, all right? Okay, so here's the part that I said I was gonna talk to, the other type of person here. Let me know if this is you, all right? And maybe you're both, right? Maybe you're the one that used to believe that this is easy for everyone except for you. But let me know also, if you've been doing this for a little bit, you've been trying to connect with the spirit world, right? The person who said that it feels the same every time, if you've been researching, taking courses, watching videos, reading books, like really trying and nothing has worked, let me know if that's you. I'm going to tell you why nothing has worked. But let me make sure there's some of you in here. Who in here has tried everything and nothing has worked? Nothing has got you to that undeniable, confident experience with the spirit world that's not random. You can initiate it anytime that you want. How many of you have tried everything and nothing has worked? Just kidding. I can't see without my glasses. Okay, yeah, I see the comments blowing up now. Me. Good. Listen, again, the first thing, and without keeping it consistent, right? Yeah. So the first thing is like, the first step again to getting out of the energy is just to acknowledge that you're in it. All right. So listen, if you've tried everything and nothing works, there's only one reason why. And this is the one shift that you need to make to connect on the level that we're talking about here. You need to find your unique way of connecting. Everyone connects differently. I've worked with thousands of people. I've never seen two that connect in the same way. Not even close. Everyone connects differently. That's why the courses aren't working. That's why the books aren't working. That's why the people that you follow can't really give you the technique, is because there is no technique. There is no framework. As much as I would like to write down on a piece of paper, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and give it to you and say, follow these 5 steps, and you will be able to connect with the spirit world on the level we're talking about. You will be able to have an undeniable flowing conversation with the spirit world. If you follow these, nothing like that exists. There is no framework for you to follow. You have to discover your unique way of connecting. And that's what all of my content and everything that I put out here for you guys is designed to do, is to help you try and find what works. That's why I blast so much stuff out. That's why I'm always posting every day. That's why I'm trying to give you guys from your perspective, from where I was when I was there, right? When I was exactly where you were, what I wish people would have told me, right? That's all the stuff that I'm giving you to try, right? You have to find your unique way of connecting. Sure, the other stuff will work. It will help you have these random experiences. But again, like somebody said earlier, it's not going to be consistent. It's going to be random. It's going to be all over the place, even if it does work. It's not going to be deep. It's going to be light. It's going to be fluff. You're not going to get detailed evidential information. You're not going to have a flowing conversation. Not going to be deep. It's going to be light. It's going to be fluff. You're not going to get detailed evidential information. You're not going to have a flowing conversation. All right? Because you have to understand your unique way of connecting. You have to discover it. Right? And so I know what everybody's thinking. Well, how do I do it? Well, how do I discover what's my unique way of connecting? And the thing is, I can't go through here on the live and be like, your unique way of connecting is this. Your unique way of connecting is this. I can't tell you what your unique way of connecting is in this training. But what I can do is help you understand how you can figure it out, how you can find your unique way of connecting. Because remember, it took me 9 years, but it's not going to take you that long, because I'm going to give you the information that I wish I would have had when I was on that 9-year journey, right? It took me 9 years of beating my head against the wall, right? And what was I doing? What was I doing? You're going to have to do the same thing, but after I give you this explanation, I'm going to show you how to skip the 9 years, all right? So when I was trying to discover my way of connecting, right? I didn't even know that's what I was doing. But what I was doing is I would have an experience, and then I would analyze that experience, right? What worked? What didn't work? What was I feeling? How do I know that it did work? What was the evidence that I had, right? And so I'm thinking and I'm reflecting, I'm obsessing over every connection that I had with the spirit world, whether I felt like I made it up or not. Even the ones that I felt like I was making up, even the ones that I knew that I was all in my head, I obsessed over every single one of those experiences and reflected on them. And what I did is I would take away those nuggets. But what I didn't realize were those nuggets that I was taking away was part of my unique way of connecting. And so with each nugget that I gathered, I was able to go deeper and have another experience that I was able to reflect on and pull another nugget out of and go deeper, right? And so I did that for 9 years. And like I said, is when I had that last nugget that clicked that last piece of the puzzle into place, boom, it all opened up for me. But the key to that whole journey was I tracked my progress. I kept track of every little thing that got me to the next deeper experience. So by the time I got to that last puzzle piece, I had my unique way of connecting mapped out. I knew exactly how it worked. I was able to repeat it, and to this day, right? It never changes, right? To this day, I go through the same thing. My unique way of connecting is the same. And that's it. That's what it took, right? But here's how you're going to skip the 9 years that it took me, okay? My problem was, I was taking all these other courses. I was reading all these books. I needed context to try different things. And so I would find one way of connecting, and I would just beat my head against the wall for months trying to make that way work before I moved on. And so I was boom, and like hitting a wall, grabbing little insights here and there. But I was trying to force something that wasn't working. Okay. And when I finally got frustrated enough to move on to something new, then I would get my next nugget. Then I would have my next insight. But it wasn't until I moved on. All right. And what I've learned working with other people, and what I learned towards the end of that journey, was that Like the last year, I felt like it was like super fast for me that got me there. But what I ended up discovering was that if you do something one time and it doesn't work, just move on. It doesn't work for you. It's not going to work for you. You can try it a million times, a million different ways. It's just not going to work for you. Move on to the next thing. And the faster you move on, the faster you're going to put all the pieces together and be able to understand your unique way of connecting. But you have to analyze your experiences. You have to map out what works for you, and you have to keep trying. And if you want to fast track it and not take 9 years, move on from the stuff that doesn't work the first time it doesn't. Okay? And so that's how you find your unique way of connecting, right? And now I know you guys are out there like, well, August, how long is that going to take us to do? I don't know. How long are you dedicating? Right? And like I mentioned, there's 2 ways to find your unique way of connecting, right? That's one of them. That's one of them, is to just go out and experiment and play with everything and move through the material very, very fast, finding your own unique way of connecting, pulling the nuggets out until it all clicks, mapping it the whole way. All right? The second way, the way that my students are finding their unique way of connecting is really fast. They're getting it in like 60, 90 days. I mean, they're just boom, they're there so quick. But what they're doing is I'm working with them, right? I'm working with them and I'm taking them through that journey that I went through, right? Where I'm basically, I'm walking them through an experience, right? I'm taking them from, I feel like I'm in my head, and we're moving forward, right? Bumping against every one of their blocks, right? We get to that, I feel like I'm making this up. We're going to deal with it. Oh, I feel like, I'm not making the connection. Oh, I don't feel anything. We're going to deal with that each time. And what I'm doing is I'm watching my students, watching their energy, watching where it opens up, watching where it closes down. I'm guiding them to different things, following what's working, following what's not working, moving them around, nudging them in different ways until they get into that first undeniable experience. And once they go into that undeniable flowing conversation with the spirit world for the first time, once it happens first, because I've worked with them from the beginning to that process and I've mapped it for them, right? I've been tracking their progress the whole time. Once they get into that undeniable experience, we know their way of connecting. We know their unique way of connecting, and then they have it for life. It never changes. It's always the same. Your unique way of connecting will be the way that you connect with the spirit world, will be the way that you connect with your intuition, will be the way that you connect with energy forever. And you've got it after that. And so that's the 2 ways that you guys can find your unique way of connecting. And so I'm happy to take any questions on that. I'm happy to answer any more questions, but I know from having done this before, I know that a lot of you right now probably have questions about like, well, what does that look like when somebody's working with you? What does that process go? How does this all work? And so if you guys are interested, and if it's okay for you, I want to be respectful of your time. Again, this is all about you, and I want to make sure that I'm delivering value. But if it's okay with you guys and everybody in here is interested, I'd be happy to tell you about how my mentorship program works and what it's all about. So if you would like to know, just let me know in the comments. Drop me a quick yes or a Y, and or drop your questions down there. And so if I get enough yeses, I'll go into the mentorship details. Oh wow, comments are blowing up. Yes, thank you. Yes. Okay. We got like 1 million yeses. Okay, guys. So I guess you guys want to know about my mentorship. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'll tell you a little bit about my mentorship program, and then I'll see. I'll answer some questions here afterwards. So the way that my mentorship program works, it consists of a 12-month period where we would meet twice a month for 2 hours at a time. All right. And in these sessions, the way that it works, these are group coaching sessions, by the way. And these sessions are very different than anything else out there. Okay. This is not where I'm teaching, right? There is no curriculum. Okay. There are no lessons. You're not coming in here to learn about spirit communication. My students come because they need an experience. They want the experience. And I couldn't teach you spirit communication even if I wanted to. The experience is the teacher. And so what we do in these group sessions is we're going right into it. Remember how I said you can go right into connecting with the spirit world and communicating? That's what we do from day one, your first session in. We are talking to the spirit world. We are doing it. You are not going to learn any more information. You're not going to get any technique because there is no special technique. We are going to allow the experience to be your teacher. All right. And the way that I work with the newer students that are just coming into the program is very hands-on. Okay. It's very tailored and custom. All right. And so in these group sessions, I'll ask for volunteers. And let's say somebody volunteers and they want to connect with their loved one. What I'm going to do is take them through that process we talked about earlier. And so I'm going to take them and we're going to work together and, we're going to bounce around. I'm going to be working with their energy. I'm going to hold their hand and walk them right into that undeniable experience, that first undeniable experience. And as we go through that, right, it's kind of chaotic when we do it, right? But chaotic in a good way. Okay. Because what it does is we bounce around from everything until they get there, okay? And by the way, this is my favorite part of everything, okay? Is that first time that I get to work with somebody, because that's where it's like, I had no idea that this was possible to connect on this level, right? And so for me, that's a very satisfying moment to watch somebody's eyes open up to this whole new world. And so, like I said, so we work together, get you to that experience. I'm mapping it the whole way. We find your unique way of connecting. We have it. You've got it for life. Boom, you're there. All right. Now, with most of my students, it only takes them 3 times working with me like that, and they can do it without my help anymore. They don't need me. They're off on their own, connecting with the spirit world, doing it all by themselves, okay? And the reason that it works so fast is because that first time we work together and connect, like I mentioned, like you get to see what's really possible, okay? You get to see like, wow, okay. That second time we work together, this is where the confidence comes in, right? This is where the evidence for the brain comes in. This is where your brain is like, oh, that wasn't an accident that first time. Oh, you really can do this whenever you want. You really can say, I want to connect with the spirit world and go right into it, right? And so that second time is where the confidence comes in. The third time we work together, this is where I'm really not helping at all. You may need a nudge here and there if you get stuck, but most of the time I don't even really help. And the reason is because you already know your unique way of connecting. You know exactly how it works. And by that third time we work together, you've already used it twice, so you know how to navigate it. You know how to work with it, all right? And so that's how it happens. That's how it works. And now, like I tell my students right there at that point, you're 95% there. But 95% is not good enough for me. I want you at 100, and this is how I get you there. All right. We go there together, right? Because at that point you have this solid foundation. And so you're going to have experiences that are very unique to you. You're going to, connect with the energy of your life. You're going to be connecting with your loved ones. You're going to be connecting with other people's energy. You're going to be connecting with your health. You're going to be connecting with other people in your relationships, right? You're going to be connecting with the energy of your purpose and, how to bring more meaning into your life, right? This, like I mentioned, this whole new world opens up to you, not just the spirit world, but this whole energetic realm and dimension and connectedness now happens. All right. And you're going to start to have, you think you have questions now. Wait until that happens, right? And you're going to have all these unique experiences. And so that's what we do the rest of our time together is we fine tune these things. All right. We teach you how to navigate some of these things. But to be clear, it takes nowhere near 12 months to be able to get this. Okay. Not even close. The reason I have such a huge window on my mentorship program is I just have to put some sort of timeline on it. But the biggest reason why I include 12 months is because I do work with, about half of my students have recently lost somebody. Okay. And it takes a little bit of warming up. A lot of them come into the program, they lost somebody they just can't live without, and they are, they're here because they want to continue that relationship with their loved one, even though they're in the spirit world. And so with those types of students, usually when they come in, it's kind of like they're just observing the first few sessions, not really participating. They're taking things very slow, warming up to things, and just taking their own time, right? I never want to push somebody that's out of their comfort zone. This is designed for people to go through it and be as comfortable as possible, as comfortable as they want to be. And so a student that needs to take that approach, 12 months is way more than enough time for them to get this on that level that we're talking about, all right? Now, with the other students, right, some of you, let me know if this is you, okay? Because I feel I got a lot of y'all in here now. The other students that are like, nope, August, I'm ready. Let's jump in. Let's dive. I need to know this today. I want to get this today. I'm ready to get on with my life. I want to know what happens in the afterlife. I need to find more meaning and purpose in my life. I want to step into my life purpose. I want to read professionally for other people. Whatever it is, those of you that are like, I need this today. Y'all come in with that energy. It takes you about 90 days. 90 days. That's it. And boom, you're there. Instantly connecting, going right into it, just like I talked about today, right? Going right into it and connecting with the spirit world. And so there's a lot of other stuff that that goes along with the mentorship, but that's kind of the gist of it. If you have any other additional questions, I'm happy to answer them here in the comments. I got a few more minutes with you guys. But listen, if that is you, if that mentorship program sounds like something that you're interested in, I only work with a handful of people at a time. I have a couple spots available. All right. If you are very, very serious about this, right? You have the time and the resources and you need this now. Schedule an interview for my mentorship program. You can do that either by the link in the comments here. You'll find the link to the booking link in the comments, or you may have to go to my profile or my bio somewhere around this video or on my profile. You'll find the link to the booking page to book an interview. But listen, again, I want to stress, this is for people that are ready now. So just keep that in mind. If you're like, I just want more information, I'm not really ready to join now, then just ask questions in the comments, right? I'm happy to answer your questions and give you more information. But if you're like, I am ready to book August, then go ahead and schedule that interview, okay? Let me see. I keep losing my glasses.